Okay, so you know how it is, you need someone to help you out with something at your place, or, maybe you're trying to find a little extra work in your neighborhood, and so what's the first thing that you do?
Well,
You ask around, right?
yeah, you ask your friends, your neighbors, your network, exactly.
Tap into that local network, and well, it turns out you're not alone.
Right.
Get this, a huge 60% of neighborhood jobs are filled through word of mouth.
Wow.
60%. Think about that. That's almost 2/3 of all these local opportunities are just decided by, who.
That's right. And that just highlights how many opportunities are hidden, right?
Yeah.
Those are opportunities that could be right next door, but you're just not connected to. It's a massive hidden market.
Right. And that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Oh, fantastic.
It's a brand new platform called Hyperlocal Job Match.
Okay.
And as you can tell from the name, it's all about connecting people with work opportunities right in their immediate neighborhood.
Interesting.
Yeah. So typically we're talking like within a 2-kilometer radius. So think about the possibilities for your daily life. You could just walk to a local gig, support the businesses and individuals that are right around you.
Yeah.
Maybe even discover some skills and needs that you never even knew existed in your community.
That hyperlocal focus is so interesting. It's not just about finding a job. It's about finding opportunities that are really embedded in your neighborhood, in your local context, right? Like you were saying, think about, less of a commute. You'd have more time for yourself.
Absolutely.
Less traffic on the roads, and think about stronger community ties. Your neighbors connecting and supporting each other.
It's a different way to think about things, for sure.
It really shifts the focus to that value of, local exchange.
For sure. And so the innovators behind this are EON Reality.
Okay.
And they're known for their work with AI and XR.
Right. Augmented and virtual reality.
Exactly, and transferring knowledge.
Okay.
But what's really interesting is that Hyperlocal Job Match actually grew out of their EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide. So picture this guide as like a structured process, like almost a step-by-step system.
Okay.
That's designed to help turn, local insights and needs into practical, real-world solutions.
So AI is being used not just in the platform, but to guide the creation of the platform.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
So it's like a framework, right, for systematically identifying those kind of overlooked local needs and then coming up with solutions that directly address them.
A much more targeted approach to innovation that's really compelling.
And so for this deep dive, our mission is to explore exactly how Hyperlocal Job Match works, to understand, what are the potential benefits that it could bring to both individuals and the community at large, and then to uncover, the thinking that led to its development through this whole AI-powered guide thing.
Sounds good.
Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit.
Okay.
We started by highlighting the problem, that surprising 60% figure, and the inherent limits of just word of mouth. So what was the specific aha moment, or maybe a better way to put it, what was the key insight that really sparked the creation of this whole platform?
Well, the key insight came from, really analyzing those inefficiencies that you were talking about.
Okay.
The EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide, it gives you a methodology to identify those pressing community needs.
Okay.
And areas like local employment, fostering economic opportunity and strengthening community development, those consistently ranked high.
Interesting.
So this pointed to a significant unmet need, right, for a better, more direct connection between local workers and employers.
So it wasn't just a hunch, it was data-driven.
It was data-driven, exactly.
Okay, so the guide provided that framework to pinpoint these areas.
That's right.
And beyond the word of mouth, what were some of those crucial market gaps that the guide highlighted that really underscored, the need for a new kind of solution?
Yeah, so the guide's problem identification tools, they zeroed in on several gaps. Beyond the limitations of those informal networks, a major issue was that there was a lack of reliable ways to assess the trustworthiness and capabilities of individuals.
Yeah. How do you know who you're hiring?
Exactly. How do you know who you're hiring, right? And then there was the challenge of coordinating those short-term, part-time, or one-off jobs.
Right. People need help with all sorts of things.
All sorts of things, but finding dependable local assistance was very time-consuming and an uncertain process.
So these gaps were like screaming for a more organized and trustworthy system.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've defined the problem.
Yes.
Let's delve into the solution.
Okay.
Hyperlocal Job Match.
All right.
How does this actually function? How does this platform work? What are the nuts and bolts?
So at its heart, it's a really sophisticated geolocation-powered system.
Okay.
But it's not just your phone's basic GPS We're talking about precise mapping that understands neighborhood boundaries,
Okay.
ensuring that you're connected with opportunities that are really right around the corner,
Okay.
typically within that 2-kilometer radius.
Okay.
So for local workers, the benefit is that proximity matching, you're finding jobs you can realistically walk or bike to,
Right.
but it's not just about the location. A crucial element is building trust through a community-verified reputation development system.
Interesting.
So as you complete jobs and you receive positive feedback from your network, you build your credibility on the platform.
Okay.
It also has user-friendly, flexible scheduling tools that are designed for all sorts of work types, from immediate needs to temporary gigs to ongoing part-time roles.
Okay.
And importantly, it incorporates secure payment processing, so it gives peace of mind and convenience for both the worker and the person hiring.
So that community verification piece is really key.
Absolutely.
How does that actually work in practice?
So it builds on the concept of feedback and ratings, right? But it has that local emphasis.
Okay.
So it might involve endorsements from your verified neighbors.
Okay.
Maybe through some platform-based confirmation or a system that gives more weight to feedback from individuals in your network. The specifics will probably evolve, based on community feedback.
Sure.
But the principle is to move beyond just anonymous online reviews.
Yeah.
And really tap into that existing local trust and reputation.
Okay, so what about the people in the neighborhood, the businesses who are looking to hire?
Yeah.
What are some of the advantages for them?
So the primary benefit is streamlined access to local talent.
Okay.
Instead of posting broadly and sifting through tons of applications, they can quickly identify people nearby who are looking for work.
That makes sense.
That community verification system that we were talking about also gives them more confidence in those potential hires.
Right.
And it simplifies the whole process of finding help for different needs.
Yep.
Whether it's a one-time task, a recurring service like dog walking or lawn care, or even, an unexpected emergency.
Okay.
And just like the workers, they benefit from direct in-app communication tools.
So it sounds like it's designed to facilitate those neighbor-to-neighbor connections for everyone's benefit.
Mutual benefit.
Okay, so let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
What are some of the broader impacts on the community as a whole that a platform like this could have?
So big picture, the potential for positive community impact is substantial.
Okay.
The platform wants to encourage local economic circulation. So when you hire someone nearby, those earnings are more likely to be spent within the local economy.
Right. Keeping the money local.
Exactly. And it broadens opportunities
Okay.
by breaking down those traditional limited word-of-mouth networks. So it gives more residents a chance to find work.
Okay.
And this increased interaction activity can contribute to greater community cohesion, stronger relationships among neighbors.
That's great.
And we shouldn't overlook the environmental benefits of reduced transportation.
Right. Less driving.
Exactly. Shorter commutes, less reliance on cars, contributing to a greener, more sustainable neighborhood.
It's about creating that interconnected ecosystem.
It really is a more interconnected, economically resilient, and vibrant local ecosystem.
So keeping those resources within the community, strengthening local bonds.
Absolutely.
Now let's touch on the business model.
Okay.
Obviously, for this to be sustainable, there needs to be a way for the platform to operate.
Right.
So what does that look like?
So the EON Entrepreneur Guide was really key in developing their revenue strategy.
Okay.
So it includes things like service fees,
Okay.
which is typically a small percentage, like 5 to 10%,
Okay.
charged on completed jobs.
Right.
And they often have incentives like discounts for repeat users.
Okay.
They're also going to offer verification tiers, which provide premium features for people and businesses that want to enhance their trust and credibility.
Okay.
For businesses that regularly hire through the platform, they'll have subscription plans with advanced features.
Okay.
And then lastly, they plan on offering featured listings.
Okay.
So that gives greater visibility to more time-sensitive or high-priority opportunities.
So it's a pretty balanced model designed to generate revenue while still providing that value to the community.
Exactly.
It sounds like they have a clear vision for how this is going to grow and expand over time.
They do. They have a phased growth strategy.
Okay.
So it outlines an initial launch in 5 pilot neighborhoods
Okay.
to establish a user base and gather feedback.
Makes sense.
And they have specific targets for things like monthly job postings and repeat usage rates within that first year. And then following that initial phase, they'll expand to more neighborhoods and onboard more users.
All right.
And the introduction of those premium verification features and the business subscriptions is slated for within the first 2 years.
Okay.
And then further down the line, their roadmap includes things like neighborhood-specific data analytics,
Right.
expanding to more cities, achieving significant user-based scaling.
So a careful step-by-step approach.
Exactly. It suggests a commitment to sustainable and responsible growth.
So it's fascinating to see how this entire initiative really came from that EON AI-powered entrepreneur guide.
It really is.
Can you elaborate a bit more on that connection?
Sure. How did this guide actually help facilitate going from the problem to developing a working solution like Hyperlocal Job Match?
Hyperlocal Job Match isn't just a random idea. It's a direct outcome of that structured process from the guide.
Okay.
So the guide takes aspiring entrepreneurs through a journey, starting with identifying a purpose, uncovering unmet needs, all the way through to developing a solution and a business model.
Okay.
So in this case, the guide gave the framework for the entrepreneur to systematically identify those inefficiencies in the local labor market.
Okay.
And then it gave them the tools to develop the targeted platform features to address those gaps.
Okay.
Dan Lajerskar, the founder of EON Reality, said that this platform embodies their vision of using technology to strengthen local economies by analyzing, neighborhood employment patterns and leveraging the power of proximity and community trust.
Okay.
So the guide was the roadmap, and Hyperlocal Job Match is the tangible outcome.
So the AI was like a virtual business mentor.
Exact, providing structure throughout the entire development process.
That's a great way to put it.
So let's look at the platform itself.
Okay.
What are some of the technical features and innovations that make this so well suited for this hyperlocal focus?
So there are several key technical innovations that are specifically designed for that neighborhood scale.
Okay.
The advanced geolocation technology that's crucial for the location-based matching.
Okay.
Then you have those trust algorithms that are engineered to build confidence and credibility through those community connections.
Right.
And then the platform has intelligent scheduling tools that can handle that variable nature of local short-term work.
Okay.
They've included customizable proximity filters so users can decide, how far they're willing to go.
Okay.
And even the integration of offline capabilities.
Oh, wow.
So ensuring that the core functions are accessible even in areas with spotty internet.
That focus on inclusivity seems really important.
It is.
Especially considering how diverse most neighborhoods are.
Absolutely.
What are some things they've done to make sure that this platform is accessible to a wide range of people?
So there are several key features for inclusivity.
Oh.
They have multilingual support, recognizing that linguistic diversity, the inclusion of accessibility features is also crucial.
Right.
And then the consideration of low-tech options and visual communication methods.
Okay.
So reaching people who might not have the latest smartphones or, strong digital literacy skills.
Makes sense.
And providing direct digital literacy support within the platform is another big step.
Wow. So they've really thought this through.
They have.
Okay. So to bring it all together.
Yeah.
It sounds like Hyperlocal Job Match is aiming to change how we think about work at the local level.
It is.
It's not just making those connections easier. It's about fostering trust, building stronger communities, and making those opportunities more accessible.
It's about harnessing technology to address a very human need for connection and opportunity.
Yeah.
And by prioritizing proximity, leveraging community verification for trust and offering these flexible solutions, it can cultivate more resilient, interconnected, economically vibrant neighborhoods.
Starting right outside our doors.
Exactly.
So as you're listening to this, take a moment to consider, what are the untapped skills? What are the unmet needs?
Yeah.
What are the potential opportunities that might be right around the corner in your neighborhood?
Right, your own backyard.
How could a platform like Hyperlocal Job Match change the way that you connect with your local community and your local economy?
That's a great question for everyone to consider.
Whether you're looking for help or whether you're looking for work.
Absolutely.
It's definitely a compelling prospect to think about.
It is.
And if you're interested in learning more and really digging into the details, you can download the Hyperlocal Job Match Neighborhood Employment Platform Entrepreneurial Journey Summary and the EON Entrepreneur Guide, Hyperlocal Job Match Neighborhood Employment Platform Presentation.
Those resources.
And you can also find some additional insights on their podcast and the EON XR Spoken blog.
Fantastic.
Well, it's been a really insightful deep dive into an innovative approach to strengthening our local economies.
I agree. It's been great.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.